Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all well, and it's great to be here with you. So today, I want to focus our discussions on Sparkster's business plan. And so some of you have heard me say that we're poised for mainstream adoption, right? That we are one of the companies that's going to be leading the way in how this technology, how blockchain technology will be adopted by the mainstream. And what I want to focus our talk on today is how are we going to make that a reality? So let's get started. So for those of you who don't know, or maybe you do know, there may be some confusion, right? Sparkster has this platform that's like this no-code thing, and then they're talking about a decentralized cloud with 10 million transactions a second. How does all of this stuff work together? What's going on here? Now, let's dig into that a little bit. So it's true. Sparkster since 2014 has been developing and incubating a product that enables people to build software without writing code, right? And the project at that point in time, we didn't have a great name for it. So while it was being incubated, it was called Symphony. And this product kind of over the last 4 years is something that we've invested about $8 million in building. And we've have a full team of approximately 22 people that have built that platform. So why did we build it? Well, we built this platform to solve the problem of enabling people who want to build software, but their core expertise isn't software development, right? And to give them the tools to be able to build software. So to give you some history here and kind of how we got to this point, I came across an application in approximately 2014, maybe 2013, called MIT Scratch. And when I looked at MIT Scratch, I was introduced to MIT Scratch by one of our advisors. His name is Professor Gary Levins, and he leads he's the chair of the computer science department at one of the largest universities in the United States, a university called the University of Central Florida, UCF. And he is still currently the dean of computer science over there, or the chair of computer science. So he introduced me to MIT Scratch. And when I saw Scratch, I thought to myself, wow, if kids can use these blocks to build games, then why can't we enable people to build full-scale enterprise applications using a similar sort of experience? And that's really the premise. The premise is, right, that if kids can build games, then the rest of us, adults, should be able to build full-scale enterprise applications without code, right? And so we embarked upon this journey, and it took us about 4 years, and we completed development of that product in April of 2014. So today, what am I saying? In April 2018, it took 4 years. In April 2018, this year, we completed development of that. And, you know, today, if you look at the world and kind of where we've gone from 2014, well, there are kind of two spaces that have emerged. There's the low-code space and there's the no-code space. So in the no-code space, unfortunately, the only people that exist in the no-code space are people that are aiming at children, things like Scratch from back at that time. And then people have gone on to evolve Scratch into App Inventor. And what App Inventor is it's an ability to build really simple mobile apps, right? But what Sparkster is, and the difference between Sparkster and, say, App Inventor, is that you can think of App Inventor as kind of Sparkster's baby brother, right? It proves the concept that people can build applications using blocks of logic, right? But it doesn't quite give you enterprise software. It doesn't give you enterprise security. It doesn't give you scalability and distribution, right? But out of the box, what Sparkster gives you is that scalability, distribution, enterprise sort of security, and many more enterprise features, right? And that's what makes us unique. So like I said, there's the no-code space, and I believe that we are the leader, the worldwide leader today in the no-code space. And the other space, like I said, is the low-code space. And if you ask me, the people who dominate the low-code space are people like Salesforce and Microsoft. And they have great tools in the low-code space, but they are designed to support software developers. They're designed to improve developer productivity. So let's unpack that. What is this developer productivity and what does it mean? Well, what developer productivity means is that when someone wants to build software, imagine you want to build a house, right? So when you're designing your house, you say to yourself, well, I want a room that I can play games in. And in my room that I want to play games in, I want to have ping pong and I want to have, pool or whatever it might be. I want to have a large pool, to swim in, and I want to have a barbecue and whatever, right? Maybe that's the way you design your house. You want to design the functions that you want to get out of your house, right? But then you take it to someone that's going to build your house, and then they start thinking about things like load-bearing walls and fire safety and all this other architectural stuff. So what is the low-code space about? It's about giving software developers a platform where they don't need to think about things like, where they don't need to build from scratch the software architecture. And because the software architecture, things like how does the software, when it needs to scale, how does it get distributed and scale across many servers? That's called horizontal scaling. How does it deal with security? Things like that, right? If you don't need to build those every time you build software, it improves the productivity of your development team, because then they are focused on delivering the capabilities and functions that you as a company need, right? So if you don't have to worry about, how do I make the software safe? You can focus on what does this company actually need. And that's where a lot of these developer productivity platforms are focused. So what's our business plan? If you look at Salesforce is focused on helping people kind of build software applications that maybe extend the capabilities of the Salesforce or make, the Salesforce more productive or whatever it might be. But what if we put the ability to build software in the hands of the entire organization, right? So, for example, people in the purchasing function or people in manufacturing, people who are, looking at operational problems on a factory floor. What if we gave them the ability to build applications? And it was as simple as kids building games using blocks of logic. That's the premise of Sparkster. And I might add to that we have a finished product. We are probably, we're certainly one of the only companies that have held a token sale that have a finished product. And that's what the Sparkster platform is, right? So the low-code space, people like Microsoft and Salesforce, they're focused on the 1% of people that are software developers, and they want to make them more productive. But what Sparkster's focused on is the 99%, the people that work in human resources, and they work in, production, and they work in all sorts of different, parts of the organization. They work in, production planning or purchasing or whatever it might be. We want to give them the tools to be able to build software that improves efficiency and productivity and makes life simpler for them and their organization. Why would they do it? Well, the question is, have a look at Salesforce. It's a company that built a platform that improves the efficiency and the effectiveness of a sales force using a piece of software. And that company is worth well over $10 billion today, right? So now, if Sparkster gives those tools to the entire organization, right, what would the value of Sparkster be in the long run? So we're focused on the 99%, but today the industry that is serving customers is focused on the 1%. And that's why we have the potential to be so much bigger and so much larger than everybody else. So you've also heard me say that, okay, so let's talk about how does this have anything to do with the blockchain? Well, we've always said, and in fact, if you look at our previous tech talks, we talked about the premise of Sparkster's decentralized cloud. Now, this software that you build it needs to run somewhere. Do you want to run it in a centralized cloud? Well, we talked about in a previous, we talked about, do we have sound problems? Is the sound fixed? Okay, good. So we talked about in a previous tech talk how the premise is all about the price of the cloud, the decentralized cloud, being much less than the centralized cloud, right? Because and you can go back and look at previous discussions on this. So if you build this software and now you want this software to run to improve efficiency in your purchasing department, well, you've got to run it somewhere. Are you going to pay a fee, a high fee from, say, in a centralized environment, or do you want to run it for much cheaper in a decentralized environment? So for that to happen, we've kind of laid out, what's important for a decentralized cloud and why Sparkster is going to lead the decentralized cloud business too. So really what I'm saying to you is that when we say we're going to bring about mainstream adoption, it's because we're going to enable people that are building these applications in our no-code platform to be able to run them easily and seamlessly on top of Sparkster's decentralized cloud. And that's where mainstream adoption of Sparkster's decentralized cloud comes from. It's not hoping and praying that people will, somehow want to build applications for a decentralized environment. It's because it makes financial sense to do so, right? And why would people want to build, applications in Sparkster's platform? One, because they can't do it anywhere else. They're using Excel spreadsheets today, and they're using paper processes today, which, as you know, are very inefficient, right? And two, because in doing that, like I said, they improve efficiency. And then being able to take those applications, that platform becomes a breeding ground for customers for our decentralized cloud. And that is fundamentally how Sparkster facilitates mainstream adoption of blockchain technology. And so, guys, I appreciate you being with us on this journey as we bring this to reality. And we will, I do want to keep these things short, as I've talked about in the past, less than 15 minutes, so that people do watch them. And, I will catch you guys at the AMA on Friday, where I'll be taking your questions. Thank you very much, guys. We'll talk to you next week. On Friday.